Well, hello and welcome back to Roadwarden. We have just had a lovely conversation with the mayor, so I think let's have a chat with. Let's go Kakios. I remember where I left off. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk trade in peace. Weevils! He points out at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire! Was ground a few days ago. Nae pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. A roadwarden, eh? If the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse, strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Hovleven. He stands sideways to you, with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. Have a look. What we got? See, friendly. Could do playful. Distance. I'm looking for a trader. I'm here to trade, not talk. May not be wealthy, but I need a few things. Vulnerable. Ooh, well. See, you're a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other out. Let's just do that one, why not? Are you a trader? For my neighbours, the treasurer. Name's Akakios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance. And I either sell it to travellers or divide it amongst the workers, builders, artisans. These things here aren't in mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. But I can show you our wares if you want. But do not ask me for better prices just because you're a traveller. I need to explain myself for every deal I make. Or Thais will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. Let's see. I bring goods to sell. I don't think so. I don't need furniture. Do you have anything used for a traveller? It's hard to say, aye. What do travellers need? He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognise what it is by the shape alone. Tell me this isn't a beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just a decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles. You like it, aye? Now I doubt you can afford it, but don't worry. That's not all I have. And look at the rest of his stuff. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. 'Tis glued and 'tis quiet, he says while shaking it in the air. Near as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in case without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveller. Just take a look. Inside the lantern you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses. Iron and glue are easy to make, but I only ask for more than 4 rings. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings. And who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan. He gives you a long look. Interested? Depends what you want for it. I feel like 4 rings, or 3, 4 rings, yeah, 4 rings. Oh boy, I don't have any money. I can't afford any of this. I need to get some more money. Right, tell me about Asterion. I thought he was here more than once. He didn't leave much behind, smelly hoarder. He looks around, then spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade from me. You remember what the blade was? Sure, 'twas a special one, a sickle sword with a tip wider than 'twas at the grip. Long as from fingertips to shoulder, near sword, near knife, single-edged. Brought his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for, fencing? Or for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will fall a tree, but 'tis a fine tool. He nods to a passer-by, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons. So he took it to the wilderness. He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast and bogs in the north and the heart of the woods. Can he help you with it? Cool. Okay. Do you need any help? Sure. Let's try and get friendly with the locals. Do you need any help? You know what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Near that she's hurt or anything. He raises his open palms as if to show he's not holding a knife. She's a teen. Wants to start hunting in the woods. I cannot teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion you have. He hesitates. Almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. Okay, where can I find such a potion? Tell me. I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond the old Pagos on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with pneuma. You can also head south east of the crossroads behind Pelt of the North. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there as old as a city. And this, he reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key, is meant to open some secret passage there. Ooh, secret passage you say? Pelt of the North, okay. I'll look for it, sure. Cool. Nothing for now, I'll walk away. I'll leave the square. So, I think we need to head out, right? Head out. Travel. Wait. Hang on. Journal. Let's see. Let's see. Got quite a few quests. I haven't completed anything yet. Let's see. Roadwarden. Okay, so that's trying to find a Asterion. Dell. Okay, I think it's still a little early, so I think we just need to carry on moving. So let's travel. Let's have a wander. Let's go. Yeah, let's go west. Go west! Sure, it's fine. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibixes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. Let's hope that the echo of hooves won't reach any larger beasts. The path leads you down again to a small moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses and the weak fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of the path covered with greenish puddles. Without the roots and with a fresh layer of pebbles, it may still be restored. You look behind you, the road is clear, no ambushes so far, but if you hope to clear this place, it'd better to do it so soon. It'll only get denser with the passage of days. Well, I don't have options there. I literally only have one option, so I'm not afraid of getting tired. I'll get this done in half the time. Your muscles, not used to such tiring work, grow tired quickly, but you don't let yourself take a break. Soon you push yourself even more from annoyance than anything, and only after you're done you notice the torn parts of your pants and sleeves. When it comes to pushing aside the boughs, you breathe heavily, but you need only enough space to let your palfrey get through. Maybe the animals will start to roam this place again, eating the path. Cool. Onwards. You reach a convenient mountain pass with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road, and the only beasts you spot are loud rooks glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Clearing the rock slide would take hours of work and a large group of people, while forcing Nick Clegg to climb up and down could break its legs. I can't even turn back. I dismount and look around, I guess. Yeah, dears. Okay, you climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move even an inch. As you get close to the small dead tree, you notice something odd amongst the stones, piecing its old fabric completely covered with mold, most like the remnants of a tunic. Oh, I need to find a place to sleep. Okay, well, seek shelter then, I guess. Okay, then I should go to Howlersdale. It's getting late. Need to go to sleep. You ride through the open gate and swiftly dismount. There's too many people around to let Nick Clegg run amongst them, so let's go to the stables. You spend a few minutes with Nick Clegg, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. You turn around towards a man in his 50s with large hands and an elegant beard and no hair. The stable master. He both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realise that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or rather, I'm one when 'tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You dunna think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse, and cleans its own shit? Nay, it takes time, and hey, if 'tis, he points at your companion, isn't he going to work for it? You better have a pouch at hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed, with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? He nods. For one day, aye, that's fair. He looks around, rubbing his hands together. Yeah, I don't want to cause trouble. Ugh, I don't have a lot of coin. I need to get a move on with these. He nods with gratitude and throws the bone into a leaky bucket hanging from a nail, then grabs a wooden pitchfork. I let him work in peace. You're wandering through the village. A man is showing a teenage girl how to chop firewood with a bone axe. 3 drunken youngsters are having something between a conversation and a mumbling exchange of jokes. Well, I need to find a place to sleep. How does one do that? Go to the main square. Okay, it's getting dark. The inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rushlights, the workers drink, and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovlaven's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them look older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a mouflon on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board covered with rocks. But they are bored and tired. Even though you only get one glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic, so long that it looks like a sack. I don't want to deal with children right now. I'm kind of busy. It would be rude to ignore her. Ugh. I don't know. I'm a little torn here. I'm trying to find somewhere to sleep. Yeah, I'm too busy. Let's approach Eric's. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that, like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on his surface with his fists. He's portly and even taller than his neighbours. He's got freckles, short grey hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveller? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around, as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. I could use a room. I very much could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'd find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. Now. Now, please. Sleep, yes. Hungry, oh god. So if I don't have much money. I actually can't afford that. Yeah. Yeah. Sleeping on a move flight. Yeah. I have no choice. I don't have money. I just need sleep. Okay. Your first sleep ends, but your usual 1 hour break is instantly disrupted by noise. You stand up, walk to the window, and see the reason for the commotion. A group of workers is just outside the inn, drinking and laughing. Eric's the innkeeper is amongst them. You could join them, but if you do so, you won't get a good sleep tonight. After such a long day, you may end up exhausted. Yeah, I need to sleep. Yeah, another time maybe. Rest. During your time in Hovel you've learned how to ignore drunken crowds. You can relax and return to your routine. I sharpen my blade and go back to sleep. Sweet! Sleep! Huzzah! The next day. Didn't recover any pneuma. I need to eat some food, right? Can I... eat a food ration? Yes. Let's do that. Let's just take one for now. Appearance. Ugh. Don't have any clothing. I could do with some clothing. Ooh, I'm stinky. Right, well, we need to just go. It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up for a couple of times during the night. The smell of cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Nick Clegg and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Thighs is nowhere to be seen. Okay. Well, I leave the square. We need to head out. No, I don't offer any. I've got no money. I'm poor. I'm a peasant. We need to travel. We're gonna go north this time. I think. Yeah, we're gonna go north. We're gonna keep checking north. Sweet. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after that you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of the summer. Then there are green hemp plants taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or a sickle. The locals keep the beasts at distance, I guess. Ooh, pretty. Nick Clegg's hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be at busy times, maybe even patrolled. In the distance west, you can see the mountain peaks dividing lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads towards the hills, behind which there are unusually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest in the north, from which you hear the croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi, yet the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. I approach the western signpost. Has 2 planks attached to a single post, both of them nailed with rusty steel. The lower sign is divided in 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes, squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them made of horizontal rectangles, the other of inexact circles. You don't recognize the letters between the 2 piles. The upper plank is covered with 2 short words drawn in white paint, and right below them an engraved vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside. Doesn't do anything for me, I think. Oh, well, let's search the area. Sure, why not? The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotting. Spread close to the wooden stools at the side of the road, the nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam, for some reason taller than you are, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plank covered by fungi. You try to move it with a stick and gloved hand. After a minute or so you can confirm it's an abandoned sign covered with green letters and colourful pictures of flowers and trees. Try to find out where did the old sign used to be attached to, because that sounds good. The southern post is the only one with holes left by nails. Okay, southern? No, because that's the way we came, isn't it? Doesn't... Let's have a look at the north. It's attached with nails and made of pointy carved bones, divided into 3 sections covered with small engravings. The part on the left has 3 large squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. No other picture or words. The one in the middle has only 1 square, but a simple horizontal symbol of a fish and a short sword beneath it, which you don't recognise. The image on the right has 2 roofed squares, but also 2 other images, which you recognise easily: a deer and a standing barrel. I approach this. Go east. Sure, let's have a look at east. The long plank attached with rusted iron nail that's almost empty. It bears no words, only a single picture painted with great care. It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right, and a couple of small conifers growing beside and partially behind the towers. That sounds good. I think, yeah, let's try east. Yeah, let's try east, why not? What's the worst that could happen? A corridor of leaves and grey rocks leads you to a gate, large enough for a wagon, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man, covered in shadows, is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. You lost? I don't know you, mug. I'm vulnerable. I'm feeling vulnerable. Let's see what you got. I explain who I am. I'm not looking for trouble, stranger. Can you open the gate for me? You warden? You better turn around. It's a wild place. I'm not running after your screams if you enter the woods. Short pause. I'm armed, you know. He lifts a loaded crossbow and sticks it out of the shadows. I'm just on duty, but you know, don't play any tricks. He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gambeson, so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. He tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveal a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandaged horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell with wide shoulders and thick legs. He straightens up, towering over you. You're new to the job. Pretty new. Yeah, I'd say pretty new. You chose a shit place then. This gate here, he kicks a brick with his heel. It's older than me. All there. He points behind him with his weapon. Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them. He scratches the bandage on his knee. Name's Quintus from Old Pagos. Been there? Not yet. No, I'm going that way. Or I'm going to be there anyway. So you don't know. It's west from here. Behind the crossroads, but it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. But some days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here sneaking wolf shifts. Wolf shits. Sneaking wolf shits almost got me. He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. I went home by myself, only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. Okay, about this gate. Here, see, he points to the long, twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook. I could climb down and remove the beam on the other side. You'll take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to give me first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe? He sizes you up. 7 meals. Holy crap, 7 meals. I don't even have 7 meals. Then I'll help you with the gate. Okay. Sure, I'll bring you some food. God damn it. Fine. I'm looking for Asterion. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that it's very much maybe, he puts a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to slit open every dragon belly in the wild. Did he often travel through the woods? Sure, though on a different mount. He had a saurian, 4 ibexes long, 2 ibexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green like rotting leaves. At one time, I was taking a piss in the shrubs, and Asterion made the beast run up the rock and face, and it jumped on that. He points at the hill, and like they ran above the walls and landed on the other side, just like that. He snaps his fingers. His voice and eyes gain new vigor. You say the saurian was large and green? I mean, not every time. He points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here on and on the tail and shoulders, I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Asterion, but he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us, keepers. I saw him every now and then, but not often. Ooh, okay. So he just wants food. I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? He scratches the bandage on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Okay, well... okay, well, we'll go west, I guess. Go west like I said I was going to go, and then I changed my mind for some reason. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south. Then follow the uphill path squeezed between the hills and the lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow and filled with dozens, maybe 100 cut-down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing such a size. It seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever's responsible for this. The locals are surely ambitious. I wonder how far they can push it. Also, don't like that growling in the background. So, okay, once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail. As there isn't much hair on its grey skin, you see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches makes you think that a single swing would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or just as likely that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious rage, encouraging them to look for human dwellings, which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that it's going to walk away on its own, maybe tomorrow, maybe late. Yeah, let's go to the crossroads. That sounds like a terrible idea. Let's not chase that. Okay, we're back at the crossroads. Okay, then I guess by power of elimination, because I can't do that yet, I will go north. North it is. Some parts of the road lead uphill, some downhill. The forests are lush but not too dark. The few foraging deer and boar keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get farther north, the colourful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream, but the road leads through a valley. There's a gentle plume of smoke coming from one of the mountains in the west. Doesn't look like a place on fire. Maybe there's a settlement in the mountains. I'm rooting for me. I need something. The road leads to a gentle creek filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes and gnats. You don't spot any critters amongst the tall meadows, tree branches or rocky slopes. Seeing the shapeless dark vortex of wings, Nick Clegg snorts. You're currently on the southern bank. I ride forward with a blazing torch. You move away from the creek, get on your feet and unpack the tinderbox with the wooden stave and a set of rags as well as the oil. After you assemble a torch, you sit down on the ground preparing the flint and the linen char cloth. Decades ago, before the southern invasion, people used to fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not ideal, but it's good enough for a couple of sparks. Holding the fire, you get back on the saddle, you swing your weapon left and right. There isn't as much smoke as you'd expect. Let's put it to the test. Once you get closer to the ford, countless creatures set you, filling your eyes, mouth and nose, hitting you like a squishy buzzing hail. Ride forward blindly, instantly forgetting about your preparations, trying to get out of here as fast as you can. But the insects are sticking with you for much longer than the smoke. It takes a few minutes for you to escape. The red marks on your skin start to burn. You get down to put out the torch by rubbing it against the beaten track. Nick Clegg swishes its tail angrily as it gives you a reproachful look, pinning its ears back to its head. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself so insects will keep slowing you down. That didn't help much. I think I need to just get out of here, right? Cool. Onwards. Get out of here. For most of the time you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, while the few lonely birches on your right still bear the signs of a tapping, marked with knife cuts, tied with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels, as if they were simply abandoned maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees are already dried out and the winds managed to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. The screeches and hisses mix with the buzzing of insects, and as you reach a small pond there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy and has a hint of rotting meat to it. It may still be early, but it's better to avoid the bogs when the night time approaches. Such places rarely find roads. Okay, this looks pleasant, but it doesn't sound pleasant. God, bogs are darker than forests. The local creatures start their hunt up to an hour earlier. Christ. Alright, well, I am going to leave it here because there's a lot that's going to happen, I feel, so it's a stopping point. I will pick up on this next time, where hopefully I will be able to pick up some resources because I'm getting a bit broke. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye!